we've in some ways become mainstream, at least from sales, but we shouldn't become mainstream in terms of our willingness to fight. Though politically, we may need to become mainstream. And if our critics, like we've seen on the state level, I mean, you go to Striped, which is the organization that's against the industry on these state bills, they've got their playbook up. And I'll send you the link. And if you don't mind sending around, it's great. Their first line of their playbook is we want to reduce access the same way other groups reduced access to childhood smoking and childhood drinking. They're equating us with those folks, right? Now, you and I know, and everyone in the industry who's really been about it, go, well, what? Like nothing could be,
crazy.
But that's if we're going to be treated, if we're going to be fought against like we're those folks. Unfortunately, we need to fight back and fight back as hard. I'm not saying adopt their values. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Sure. Yeah. You got to fight back. And I just, I wonder, I want to just, I always want to try to empathize. Clearly, we have these discussions, where someone will say, well, is that much of a B vitamin really safe to take? And, I have to kind of put it in context. There's ways to talk about, what the safe doses and levels and intake of things are. But you relate that to something, let's talk about they're not even when they think about kids and maybe they're thinking about Delta 8 or CBD. I think is at all much complicated in the discussion, but that we're dealing with cannabis-derived substances and things like recreational and gummy that may look similar.
Sure.
Melatonin, or they have Delta something,
Yeah, but I think there are tools to deal with that, right? I think we all get ahead. It shows. I think the industry cares, right? We care about the public perception, and we kind of race or we scramble to go, okay, we need to address this right away. And it's like instead of going, hey, look, there's a legal tool there. If somebody has a new ingredient, never been in the food supply before, it might be natural. It might actually fit into the space. And we've seen this with CBD. Like CBD, people just went to market, and I think in some ways that kind of forced FDA's hand because FDA's effectively demolished the CBD market via economics by going, hey, we don't know what to do. For 5 years, they don't know what to do. I mean, they are the scientific experts. Other governments have figured it out. UK's figured it out. They have a safe daily dose. Now, I don't agree with the dose, but at least they set a level, right? That's a foot in the door. I'm not saying it's the right level, but that's something, one is better than zero in this case. And it's like, okay, then at least we set up the battle for the science, right? Then we can go, hey, our toxicologist versus your toxicologist, here you go. Like those are for trade associations to say, hey, look, you know what? Clearly there's a mechanism to get the product to market. That's step one. So let's take care of that. We have now let's figure out what makes sense to keep consumers safe. Those are issues, like I said, that those happen, I think, with any industry.